This is Mountain Fishing Adventures. My name is Sergeant Ron. Now let's go on a journey to Greenbrier. Out here, just got out here to Greenbrier. It's in the Great Smoky Mountains. We're gonna see if we can catch us a couple of wild trout today. We're doing a little hopper dropper. So if you know anything about the Great Smoky Mountains, this is a pretty darn phenomenal place to come visit. A lot of people love to come out here and tube and raft and swim and all kinds of stuff. It is pretty chilly waters. Some of these guys come out here and do this. I was like, whoa, but they love it. We got some wild rainbows today. They don't get too big, so I'm trying to get us onto a couple of decent sized ones here. Might have to put on a double nymph rig today. See how it goes. Normally I start out down at the runs of the water, so usually it's out here. I don't quite go to the tails. It's a little warm today, so I try to the tails part of the string seams will does produce some fish, but they are a little more leery than the heads and so that being said, they're a little tougher to catch. So we're gonna see if we can't get us a couple out here. So I thought I'd go up to the heads where there'd be more oxygen. But it looks like it's gonna be a struggle today. We'll work our way down a little bit here. What you're seeing is live action, or get snags, or hey, people do it, you know. It's the truth fishing, let's put it that way. You know, most of these guys, they'll edit that kind of stuff out and they'll show you exactly what they, you know, them catching fish and stuff like that. And, you know, it's not like that. You know just as well as I do that it's tough. Some days takes a minute. This looks like a really nice little spot here. So we'll see how well we do. Oop, missed one. See that? Look at that. It's a little hot day today, but we're loving it. Calling for a little bit of rain today, too. We'll see what happens. As of right now, we got bluebird skies. So we'll see. When you come up here and it's raining, you really want to give that water a couple of days, because it gets pretty muddy, and these fish, they pretty much feed by sight. So when it's so muddy like that, they really don't get a chance to eat a whole lot. Do a little mending, try to keep that dropper in the strike zone as long as we can. Don't want to create no drag on top of it. And fish see that drag, and it's pretty much game over. Alright, we're gonna mosey on downstream a little ways. See if we can't get into a couple of these little pockets here where these fish are gonna be holed up. There is quite a few fish here. You know, they are wild trout, so they're not going to be no giants by no means. But talk about fun to catch, man. These guys here, they are fun to catch. And once you figure out what they want, you can really catch some numbers. I'm talking quite a few. It's not uncommon to come out here and really in a 4-hour stretch and catch 20 or 30. You could really have some fun doing it, especially if you got some light tackle. Like today, I'm using the a two-weight rod. It's actually a Orvis branded rod. I do love my Orvis rods. They have some awesome warranties with it and all that kind of stuff. So if something does happen on the water, and things happen quite regularly, I mean, not every day, but you know, you can break rods and anything like that. So I do like to have warranties on my stuff, and Orvis, they offer a very, very good warranty. This one I'm fishing with today, like I said, is a superfine graphite 2-weight. It's one of those rods that when it comes to these mountain fish, it allows you to get into some tight quarters. It's also a very, very limp rod, so casting dry flies and stuff like that, it's pretty darn phenomenal. And when you get it, you get you a nice fish on there, you know, it bends that rod over pretty good. We're gonna see what happens here. We made out this nice little pool here, so give it a few casts and see if any of these fish want to come play. The key here is to present the fly as if it was just laying on top. No drag. If you have drag, for some reason, a lot of these fish can see that. So they don't want nothing to do with it if it has any drag on it at all. So mending is a must. We'll try this for a little while longer, and then I might have to switch things up, you know. I'm all about fishing for what the fish want to eat and not force feeding them. I do like a dry dropper. I do get a lot of action on the dry, especially in the fall and in the late spring. The dry flies seem to just really do very, very well. But come these summer months and stuff like that, you start getting into the warmer waters and stuff, then fish do like to tend to go a little deeper. So when you find yourself a nice pool, most of the time you want to go and put yourself on a nymph of some sort and get that down there, you know, within, I'd say within 8 to 10 inches of the bottom. You do that and usually you can you could get those picky fish to come up and eat that thing and really have fun with it. But we're gonna attempt to do this for a little while longer. I'm gonna go to the bottom end of this, and right over there, we're gonna go to the bottom end of it, and we'll see if we can get anything to hit down there at the oops, we had a little hit there. There's a little fish. That's a little fish. We'll see. They are looking at it, but for some reason today they're really not committing to it. Maybe they want something a little darker. Maybe they want something a little, might try a ant pattern today. Alright guys, we're sitting here, we're trying to catch us a few. I've now switched over to a double nymph rig. Look at that, I got tangled up too. See, I'm telling you. You guys are gonna see everything. I'm telling you. Everything. Then got tangled up here. Just as easy, it got tangled up, it come untangled. What do you think of that? Boy, that's luck right there. I do have to say, that is luck. Alright, get it out there in that tail of that faster moving water to see if we can't pick us up one. Let's see here. Dragging the bottom a little bit. Put it back up there and give it another nice drift here. There is some fish here. They came up and was looking at that hopper, but they would not commit to it. So I'm gonna go, and I went ahead and put on a double nymph rig. I got a pretty heavy sized bead on the top, and I put another lighter bead on the bottom. So I've got, I'm fishing a size 14 on the top with a 3.8 bead. And then I'm fishing a size 20 on the bottom with a size 2.0 bead. So it's getting down there pretty good. The bottom bead is pink, the top bead is, they're both of them are hare's ears. Well, one's a hare's ear, the bottom one's a pheasant tail. So we'll see which one outperforms the other today. So far, I have not lightened it on fire, I tell you, but of course, these fish have seen about everything. Go around this rock right here and see if we can't get a couple. We got a couple swimmers today. I was fishing up at the head, but the swimmers came over and took over the head on me, which, you know, hey, it's their right to. They can just like a fisherman, you know, they can do whatever they want to out here as long as they're not hurting the land or hurting themselves. We really don't frown upon people swimming. You know, a lot of fishermen, they get upset about, oh, you're scaring away the fish. Well, I hate to say this, but I've caught just as much fish with people swimming right by me as I have with them, nobody here. A lot of guys, like I said, they think it's scare away the fish. Well, when I go fishing, a lot of times I'll play the radio, and sometimes or another they'll have people walk through, and yeah, it might scare them for a minute, you know, but for the most part, Them fish really don't care too much. They see people pretty regularly, so we don't worry too much about it. I'll give it a few more casts up here and see how things go, but if I don't get nothing here shortly, I'll probably move upstream a ways and test it up there. A little higher elevation, a little cooler water. Okay, let's go ahead and make our way upstream. We're gonna a few more cast upstream, make our way back towards the truck. We'll try it up about another mile upstream just to see if we can get onto some fish that are a little heftier or a little bit more willing to eat here. Right now we're in the struggle bus is what we are. I see some small ones. I had a little bite there. Oh, see what I mean? It's just a little bites here and there. They're not really wanting to commit down here today. We'll just keep working our way upstream. Maybe we can get a few, who knows. Got one, there he is. All right. There he is. Oh, he went off to that little fly on the bottom. There we go. I do fish barbless hooks, so it is a lot easier for the fish to spit out the hook. Let's see if we can't get him managed here, and I'll hold him up, let you guys take a gander at him. All right, take a look at that guy, huh? Oops. Take a look at that guy. What a beauty. What a beauty. All right, buddy, go ahead. Oh, look at him go. See, we both get to have fun. He gets to bite the fly and gets to have fun doing it, and I get to have fun catching him. And he just looks like a real nice little healthy rainbow trout. See if we can get us another one. Why don't you guys get your fishing pole and get it cast out here and see what happens. I tell you, you might be doing better than me. That's the fun thing about it. There's one. There he is. Oh, he's little guy. Oh, he's a creek chub. Little creek chub. Yep. See, that's a little creek chub right there. If he could quit squirming around, I'd be able to get him off there. I mean, geez, old Pete's. He's done got this thing all tangled up and in a mess, I tell you. All right. There he is. There he goes. This is as fast as he came, he went. Little creek chub. That's a good thing about fishing out here. You know, there's so many different species of fish in the Smoky Mountains. You really never know what you're going to catch. You could, I mean, smallmouth and trout, rainbow trout, and brook trout, and all kinds of stuff. So you really never know what you're going to end up catching. That's what makes it so much fun out here. You get yourself a nice little light rod like this one here, and you can just have yourself a ball. Trying to work all these seams here. I've got the inner seam that goes nice and slow, and then I've got the outer seam that goes super fast. But this is one of my favorite waters to fish for these wild trout. You know, it's a little higher elevation than Gatlinburg and stuff like that, but nice, easy to get to. Water's really clear most of the time. I mean, unless we get some real good storms coming through, usually you can come up here and catch these trout, you know, 8-9 inches, which is, you know, all wild trout. That's a good trout. That's a 3-year-old trout. You know, you get something over that, and really you got yourself a trophy. You know, it's not uncommon to get yourself them 8s and 9s, but every once in a while you can really get yourself a trophy fish, like a 14-incher. And really, I mean, I could go into Gatlinburg, and yes, I could fish them stock trout, and I can catch 14s. I can catch 14-inch trout on the at least one every hour. You know, or 16-inch trout, or 18-inch, you know, rainbows. But they're not wild. They're stock though. They're put there for our pleasure, you know. These fish here, they're native here. They were born here. They live their life here. So the stuff that they get to eat is what falls in the water. They don't get fed. They don't get nothing like that, you know. That's so what you're seeing is what God put here. God let us enjoy. So to catch these fish in their native lands, and to get one that is over 8-9 inches, I mean, that is phenomenal, because we do get some floods here. Every few years we'll get floods and stuff like that, which, you know, cause them trout to either go downstream, or, you know, they don't get to have the food plentiful as what they did have, so some of them will perish. That's why coming out here fishing for these trout, you know, A lot of people say it's bad and this, that, and the other, but to keep them. But in all reality, it's it helps the species to grow. Yeah, I mean, they don't have to, the amount of food as they do is the stock trout, because we feed them the stock trout. But these ones here, they're always competing against each other, so the strong will survive. We moved upstream about 1.5 miles. It's we still have swimmers, so we'll see how this thing goes. I mean, it's kind of like I said before. Oop, missed one right there. Swimmers don't bother me. You know, a lot of people think that they scare the fish away, but in all reality, you know, unless they're literally swimming and flailing around right in the exact same spot where you are casting, you're never gonna really have a problem with anybody. You know, if they're 50 feet, 100 feet downstream, having a good time, you know, that's their right. You know, it's not gonna hurt you none. Some people get all flustered about it, and it's not really in it. But you know, just go out, have yourself a good time, because I guarantee you're still gonna catch fish. Hopefully I can get them guys to bite. Thing with these wild trout guys, they bite so fast that you've got to be on your game at all times. Because they just hit it and let go. And I'm talking, it is furious and fast. About to slip and go downstream myself. Look up there. I done got my hook tangled up in somebody else's hook. Alright, well, let's see if we can't get it back. I didn't notice that line that was up there. That line has got my line. Alright, let's see what we got here. It looks like a tangled up mess. Yep. Big tangled up mess is what I got. Yeah, what are you gonna do? A little bit of the tree moss that was up there. Sometimes, guys, it's easier to take off these Oros. These things are phenomenal. So, like, see, just that quick, I got the Oros off, and then now I don't have to deal with that in the way, you know. So that's one less thing to untangle. Sometimes, man, it just comes right out of there like it was nothing. I've been lucky. Today, nice and easy. If I didn't get just hung up in that same tree again. guys, you need to climb up there and get that tree out of there, that little limb. My gosh, it's bound to determine to take my flies, and it did too. It took everything I had. Well, looks like we're back to tying on. You know, we thought we was going to get away with it. I should have just put those flies away. Should just put those flies away and tie it on a new one anyway, because it's bound and determined to happen now. Bound and determined to happen. I'll get these tied up and then I'll get you guys back on here. We'll see if we can't catch some fish here in a minute. Well guys, that weather did end up coming in and it pushed us off the water. We did get a couple hours of good fishing in. I ended up catching I think 2 or 3 more, but yeah, it really didn't light it on fire today. Had a lot of strikes but not a lot of fish, but there is a lot of fish there, so maybe you can do a little better than me. Get out there, have a good time.